Unfortunately, a fire phoenix was caught in an iron net, and the man was going to take it back to present it to the king. The poor phoenix begged the man to let her go, and then she shed a hot tear. The man felt pity for the phoenix because of its sad look. He then untied the heavy iron net. The phoenix regained its freedom, as if it had been reborn from the ashes. He looked at the man with gratitude, then flapped his huge wings and soared into the sky. The phoenix symbolizes good luck. Leaving it here to wish you good luck and fortune will surely bring you smooth sailing and all your wishes will come true. In order to repay the man's kindness, Phoenix left behind a primitive needle that could protect the man from harm in times of crisis. But because Fanti failed to catch the phoenix, he was captured by the king. Fanti originally wanted to take out the original real feathers to prove himself, but he didn't expect that the feathers at this moment were dull and uglier than chicken feathers, which made everyone present burst into laughter. The king thought Fanti had played a trick on him. So he ordered Fanti to be executed on the spot. Just as the executioner raised the axe, the original true feather suddenly burned. Everyone looked up and found that the phoenix sensed that Fanti was in danger and rushed over in time. Then he landed above the town, and the warm firelight instantly surrounded the entire town. At this time, everyone believed that Fanti was not lying and called him a hero. Helplessly, the king had to commend Fanti in front of everyone, but he had already harbored a grudge against him secretly. Soon after, the king issued an order, asking Fanti to wake up the snow princess on the top of the snow mountain and bring her back to marry her as queen. The journey was dangerous and the king believed that Fanti would definitely die on the way. Little did they know that Fanti had a magical little tiger as his helper. Soon, they reached the top of the snow mountain, but the frozen gate in front of them blocked Fanti out. Just when Fanti was at a loss, the original true rain started burning again. Then he went straight into the ice door. In the blink of an eye, the heavy ice door instantly turned into icy water. For short and small turtles were washed down and finally froze into ice eggs and got stuck on the cliff. Fanti walked into the ice and snow palace carefully and finally saw it. When the legendary ice princess arrived, Yuan Shizhen woke her up from her deep sleep. But when the snow queen learned that the man who was going to marry her was an old man, she immediately said that she would rather die than go back with Fanti. Then he pulled Fanti and jumped directly off the cliff. Fortunately, the little horse owner flapped his wings and arrived in time, thus successfully rescuing them. Fanti successfully brought the princess back to the palace. But the princess refused to marry the king on the grounds that she did not have her grandmother's heart of the ocean ring. After learning that the ring was swallowed by a giant whale, the king immediately summoned Fanti. Obviously, the task of retrieving the ring fell on Fanti again. The scene changed, and Fanti was riding a pony and flying over the vast ocean. Unexpectedly, he was accidentally knocked down by a group of seagulls. When Xiao Mahu pulled Fanti up again, he was shocked to find that a supergiant whale in front of him was firmly locked to the sea surface by an iron chain. I don't know how many years the giant whale has been trapped here. A lush island has grown on its back. When the giant whale saw Fanti, he shed a ton of tears. Fanti understood that the giant whale was praying to him for help, so the kind-hearted Fanti decided to help the giant whale regain its freedom. He rode on his donkey and plunged into the whale's nostrils. The donkey used the feathers on its wings to prick the whale's nasal cavity. The giant whale suddenly felt extremely itchy all over, and then the primordial power in its body burst out involuntarily. A huge sneeze erupted like a volcano, and the thick iron chain was finally broken. The giant whale finally got rid of the predicament and returned to the depths of the sea. To thank Fanti, the giant whale sent the crayfish to deliver a diamond ring made of pure gold. Unexpectedly, this was the heart of the ocean that the king wanted to find. But Fanti hesitated, because if the king got the ring, the princess would have no reason to refuse to marry the king. It turned out that Fanti had already fallen in love with the princess. He decided to risk everything for the princess. Late at night, Fanti prepared to elope with the princess secretly, but this scene was seen by a minister in the distance. As a result, the two were captured by the minister and soldiers before they could escape. The king heard the noise, grabbed his weapon and came to the window. He saw the little donkey in the distance and pulled the trigger without saying a word. The little donkey, pierced by the bullet, fell heavily from a high altitude. In order to rescue Princess Fanti, he told the king the secret of his immortality, but the cunning king was skeptical. At this time, a minister nearby gave the king a bad idea. The next day, at the gate of the palace, soldiers pushed 3 huge iron pots. The first pot was filled with boiling water, the second pot was filled with sea water that could freeze a person into an ice stick in an instant, and the third pot was filled with a highly poisonous milk. As long as the king can pass it smoothly, the 3 pots can gain eternal life. But the cunning king didn't want to try him easily. He pushed Fanti down. Seeing this, the princess immediately took off her ring and quickly threw it into the pot. Fanti successfully passed the first test, but then fell into a freezing cold pot of ice. In an instant, Fanti's body was frozen into an ice stick. At this moment, the original feathers of the fire phoenix rushed into the pot. Fanti successfully passed the second level. But when Fanti fell into the third poison pot, the princess was dumbfounded, because she really had no way to help Fanti escape. Everyone present thought that Fanti had no body left and they were ready to leave with regret. At this moment, a white light suddenly flew across the sky. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a glowing dandelion, which fell straight into the poison pot. In the blink of an eye, a Fanti came back to life like a phoenix. It turned out that it was a seriously injured little donkey that ran desperately to the end of the world and stepped on the only flower of life and death in the world. When the king saw that Avanti had gained eternal life, he jumped into the pot without saying a word. However, he was trapped in a huge bubble and finally floated into the boundless universe. Everyone expressed their approval of Afanti's heroic deeds, and Afanti became their new king. From then on, he and the princess lived a shameless life. Finally, if you were asked to choose between the little donkey, the fire phoenix and the ice princess, which one would you choose?